Before this year ends, ask yourself one honest question. If you disappeared tomorrow, how many people would truly benefit from the life you're living today? Most people spend their time pleasing others. But what if 2026 is the year you finally put yourself first? Not out of selfishness, but out of wisdom. Because a person who is centered becomes unshakable. And I promise you this, if you follow the path I'm about to share, 2026 will become the year you reclaim your inner power and live with clarity, discipline, and purpose. 1. Self-prioritization is not ego, it is responsibility. There comes a moment in every person's life when the world's noise becomes so loud, so demanding, so endlessly hungry, that you begin to forget the sound of your own inner voice. And when that happens, you drift. You drift into obligations that are not yours, expectations that do not belong to you, and identities that were never meant to fit your spirit. But here is the truth. Putting yourself first is not an act of selfishness. It is the highest form of responsibility. Responsibility for your health, responsibility for your energy, responsibility for your peace, responsibility for the direction of your life. When you do not prioritize yourself, you silently grant permission for the world to dictate your path. And the world will not hesitate. It will pull you, push you, bend you, and reshape you to satisfy its own needs. You become an instrument in someone else's orchestra, playing music that does not reflect your soul. Yet deep within, something begins to ache. A quiet whisper emerges. Where did I go? Self-prioritization is the act of answering that whisper. It is the process of turning inward, reclaiming the pieces of yourself that you scattered in the service of everyone else. It is the recognition that your life is not an unlimited resource, and that your time, your mind, and your heart must be guarded with intention. People often misunderstand this. They think putting themselves first means turning their back on others. But that is not true. When you prioritize yourself, you are not withdrawing your compassion. You are strengthening its source. A drained person cannot uplift others. A confused mind cannot guide others. A broken spirit cannot inspire others. A weakened foundation cannot support others. But a centered individual can. Think of a tree. It does not apologize for reaching toward the sun. It does not shrink so smaller plants feel more comfortable. It does not dim its growth so others can grow faster. Its only duty is to grow deeply, fully, strongly. And in doing so, it becomes a shelter. It becomes nourishment. It becomes stability. It becomes life for the entire ecosystem around it. You are no different. Every time you choose rest over burnout, you grow. Every time you choose clarity over chaos, you grow. Every time you choose purpose over people-pleasing, you grow. Every time you choose your path over approval, you grow. And the world benefits from that growth. Prioritizing yourself is not a withdrawal from humanity. It is your gift to it. Because what the world truly needs is not more exhausted people, but more awakened ones. People who live from the strength of their center, not the fragility of their wounds. But self-prioritization requires honesty, and honesty is uncomfortable. You must ask questions that many avoid. Where am I betraying myself? Whose expectations am I living under? What responsibilities have I accepted that do not belong to me? What parts of my life have I abandoned in order to be liked, accepted, or needed? These questions are heavy because they reveal a truth many fear. You have allowed yourself to be shaped by the hands of others. But the moment you see it, truly see it, a profound shift begins. Your spine straightens, your breath deepens, your awareness sharpens. You begin acting from intention instead of reaction, from clarity instead of confusion, from alignment instead of obligation. This is where self-prioritization becomes a sacred responsibility, because the world will always attempt to rush you, demand from you, claim parts of you, but only you can decide which parts remain yours. People may not understand your boundaries at first. They may question your distance, your silence, your focus. But you are not living for their understanding. You are living for your truth. And when you live from truth, the right people will remain. Not because they need from you, but because they respect the wholeness you are becoming. This is the foundation of a strong life. To choose yourself first, not as an escape from other, but as the anchor of all you will give to the world. And with that foundation set, a deeper realization begins to rise, one that leads directly into the next truth. If self-prioritization is responsibility, then how do you express that responsibility in your daily actions? There is only one answer, and it is the doorway to all transformation. 2. Discipline is the highest form of self-respect. Discipline is often misunderstood. People see it as restriction, limitation, or punishment. But discipline, in its purest form, is the most powerful expression of love you can offer yourself. Because discipline says, I am worth consistency. I am worth structure. I am worth my own effort. I am worth the future I desire. When you lack discipline, you do not lack ability. You lack alignment. You drift between desires and distractions, between intentions and impulses, between your potential and your excuses. You know what you should do, but somehow you never quite arrive there. Why? Because discipline is not built through force. It is built through self-respect. When you respect yourself, you honor your time, you honor your goals, you honor your inner promise, you honor your future self, the version of you waiting to be born. Discipline is the bridge between who you are and who you can become. Without discipline, dreams remain fantasies. With discipline, even the impossible becomes reachable. But discipline does not begin with grand gestures. It begins with the smallest decisions. Waking up with intention. Moving your body even when you feel tired. Choosing nutritious food instead of emotional comfort. Reading instead of scrolling. Breathing deeply instead of reacting impulsively. Finishing what you start. Every disciplined act is a vote for the person you want to become. And these votes accumulate. They build momentum, they form habits, they become identity. One day you look back and realize you no longer force yourself to be disciplined. Discipline lives within you. It becomes part of your character, woven into your decisions, guiding your actions even when no one is watching. This is something many overlook. True discipline is invisible. It is reflected not in the big achievements people celebrate, but in the silent battles no one ever sees. The moments when you choose growth over comfort, progress over procrastination, align me, NT over temptation. Discipline is not about controlling life. It is about controlling your response to life. The world is unpredictable, chaotic, ever-changing. But your inner discipline, that is steady, that is stable, that is anchored. And when life becomes stormy, discipline becomes your shelter. It prevents you from collapsing into overwhelm. It gives structure to uncertainty. It turns fear into action and confusion into clarity. But discipline also requires courage. The courage to disappoint your comfort zone again and again until it stops controlling you. Your comfort zone whispers, stay here, stay safe, stay unchanged. But your potential whispers louder, there is more. Keep going, keep rising. The discipline to follow that second voice, that is where transformation begins. People wait to feel motivated. They wait to feel inspired. They wait to feel ready. But discipline does not depend on feelings. Discipline creates the feelings. A disciplined person becomes a magnet for opportunities. Not because of luck, but because consistency sharpens skill, and skill attracts doors that once seemed locked. And as you grow in discipline, something remarkable happens. Within you, your trust in yourself expands. Your confidence strengthens. Your self-image elevates. You begin to see yourself not as who you were, but as who you are becoming. This is why discipline is the highest form of self-respect, because every disciplined action is an affirmation of your worth, an affirmation of your vision, an affirmation of your potential. And when you act from this level of self-respect, the world shifts around you. People treat you differently. Opportunities find you. Distractions lose their grip. You rise, not accidentally, not occasionally, but consistently. And yet, even discipline is not enough on its own. For discipline to be sustained, for it to flourish, for it to elevate your life, there is one more element you must cultivate: the world that surrounds you. Because discipline cannot thrive in a hostile environment, so the next truth asks you to examine with honesty the landscape of your life. 3. Your environment shapes your destiny. You can have the clearest vision, the strongest intention, and the deepest discipline, but if your environment contradicts your growth, it will slowly suffocate your progress. Your environment is not merely air you live. It is what you consume, what you allow, what you tolerate, who you walk beside. Every environment carries energy. Some environments elevate you, others drain you. Some environments sharpen your purpose, others blur it. Some environments push you upward, others pull you downward. And most people never realize how deeply their environment shapes their destiny until they step outside of it. When you surround yourself with people who complain, you become a complaint. When you surround yourself with people who blame, you become a victim. When you surround yourself with people who fear growth, you shrink to match them. When you surround yourself with chaos, your mind loses its clarity. But the opposite is also true. When you surround yourself with people who push limits, your limits expand. When you surround yourself with people who hold high standards, yours rise to meet them. When you surround yourself with people who value peace, your spirit softens. When you surround yourself with disciplined minds, your motivation strengthens. When you surround yourself with wisdom, your decisions evolve. You become the environment you choose. This is why you must choose it. Why? Intention. Look at the people closest to you. Do they inspire you, challenge you, nourish you, support your growth, respect your boundaries? Or do they keep you small? Look at your physical space. Is it aligned with your aspirations or cluttered with distractions? Does it calm your mind or agitate it? Does it reflect the person you want to be or the person you are trying to leave behind? Look at your digital environment. What you watch, what you consume, what you scroll through, what you allow to enter your mind daily. These things are not harmless. They shape your focus, your mood, your beliefs, your actions, your destiny. Every environment is a seedbed. If you plant your life in unhealthy soil, you will struggle to grow no matter how hard you try. But if you plant yourself in fertile soil, in wisdom, in discipline, in supportive energy, your growth becomes natural, effortless, inevitable. And yet, changing your environment requires courage. Because some environments are familiar, comfortable, predictable, safe, even when they are harmful. Leaving them means stepping into the unknown. It means risking misunderstanding. It means letting go of attachments. It means facing solitude. But solitude is not emptiness. It is the clearing where transformation begins. When you clean your environment, your mind clears. When your mind clears, your direction sharpens. When your direction sharpens, your purpose awakens. And when your purpose awakens, your destiny accelerates. Never underestimate the power of a single change, one new habit, one inspiring friendship, one space of silence, one shift in routine, one decision to walk away from what no longer aligns. These small changes reshape the trajectory of your entire life. And the truth is simple. Your environment will either nurture your greatness or nourish your excuses. But once you understand this, once you see it clearly, once you feel the impact of every space you walk into and every person you walk beside, a deeper question emerges. A question that leads directly to your next stage of evolution. If your environment shapes your destiny, then who must you become within that environment to rise beyond everything that once held you back. 4. Silence is a powerful teacher. In a world overflowing with noise, silence has become rare. We surround ourselves with constant movement, endless converse, patience, unending distraction. We reach for our devices when we are anxious. We fill empty spaces with sound, and we mistake activity for clarity. Yet beneath this noise lies one of the greatest teachers available to any human being: silence. Silence is not empty. Silence is not absence. Silence is not withdrawal. Silence is presence in its purest form. When the outside world grows loud, your inner world grows faint. You lose the ability to hear yourself. You lose the connection to your intuition. You lose the guidance that naturally arises when the mind becomes still. This is why so many feel lost, not because they lack answers, but because they lack the quiet in which answers can appear. But the moment you step into silence intentionally, everything begins to shift. Silence strips away illusion. Silence reveals truth. Silence shows you who you are without the world's influence. There is a reason why ancient traditions, warriors, philosophers, and seekers of all kinds retreat into silence before great responsibility. Silence brings you back into alignment. It reminds you of what matters. It reveals what is essential and exposes what is unnecessary. In silence, you begin to observe the patterns of your mind. You notice the fears that whisper beneath the surface. You see the thoughts that repeat without purpose. You recognize the conditioning that limits your decisions. You become the witness instead of the one controlled by inner storms. And as the storms subside, a new clarity emerges, gentle at first, then stronger, then radiant. You begin to understand that silence is not passive. It is active. It is not weakness. It is strength. It is not emptiness. It is fullness. In silence, your intuition sharpens, because there is finally space for it to speak. In silence, your emotions settle, because they are no longer inflamed by noise. In silence, your energy restores because nothing is pulling at it. In silence, your decisions improve because they arise from clarity instead of confusion. This is why silence is a teacher. It teaches you what tension hides. It teaches you what distraction suppresses. It teaches you what fear avoids. Silence teaches you to listen, not to others, but to the deepest part of yourself. But silence also reveals something else, the truth of what you've avoided. Because when there is no noise to hide behind, you must face your reality. No excuses, no stories, no escape. And this is where many run, because silence is honest, and honesty is uncomfortable. Yet the moment you stay, even when discomfort rises, you begin to transform. The illusions fall away, the masks dissolve, the noise of the ego quiets, and what remains is authenticity. This authenticity becomes your compass. It becomes the foundation for every decision that follows. You begin to speak with more intention. You begin to move with more purpose. You begin to act from a center that cannot be shaken. Silence teaches you to find strength without aggression. Silence teaches you to find clarity without force. Silence teaches you to find peace without avoidance. And once you learn from silence, you carry that wisdom everywhere, into your relationships, your work, your discipline, your ambitions. You respond instead of react. You observe instead of absorb. You choose instead of drift. But silence is not something you visit once, it is something you cultivate. A few minutes of silence each day can alter your entire path. A moment of stillness before speaking can prevent unnecessary conflict. A moment of quiet before deciding can prevent years of regret. Silence becomes the space in which your best self rises. And once you experience the teachings of silence, another truth becomes clear. A truth that cannot be ignored. A truth that leads to the next realization. Because once you learn to honor silence, you must also learn to guard your energy. For what good is clarity if your energy is scattered? 5. Protect your energy as if it were a sacred resource. Energy is the currency of your life, not money, not time, not opportunity, energy. Without energy, time becomes useless. Without energy, opportunities slip through your fingers. Without energy, even simple tasks feel overwhelming. This is why the greatest mistake many people make is offering their energy too freely. To people, to distractions, to habits, to environments that do not honor it. Your energy is sacred because it determines the quality of your actions, the strength of your discipline, the clarity of your mind, and the depth of your presence. Without protected energy, your life becomes reactive. You get pulled in every direction, drained by every expectation, and exhausted by every demand. But when you treat your energy as sacred, everything Shi Heng is. You begin to notice who leaves you empty and who leaves you elevated. You begin to feel which environments nourish you and which environments poison you. You begin to see which activities drain your strength and which activities expand it. You begin to understand that protecting your energy is not avoidance, it is mastery. This mastery begins with awareness. Look at the conversations you engage in. Look at the people you allow into your life. Look at the habits that consume your time. Look at the emotions you feed. Ask yourself, is this strengthening me or weakening me? Every person you interact with influences your energy. Some lift you, some lower you, some balance you, some confuse you. It takes courage to step away from those who drain you, yet this courage becomes essential. Because when you allow someone to repeatedly take from you, you are not being kind, you are abandoning yourself. Protecting your energy means setting boundaries, not boundaries of anger, but boundaries of clarity, not boundaries of rejection, but boundaries of self-respect. Boundaries say, this is where I end, this is where my peace begins, this is what I allow, this is what I refuse. And boundaries do not require explanation, because your life is your responsibility. You must also protect your energy from the habits that steal it quietly. Excessive noise, constant distraction, emotional reactions, procrastination, negative environments, overcommitment, and self-doubt. These things consume energy faster than stress itself. But when you protect your energy, you regain control. You begin to move with intention. You begin to choose your battles. You begin to elevate your standards. You begin to honor your inner strength. Your energy affects your creativity, your courage, your decisiveness, your resilience. When your energy is high, you see possibilities. When your energy is low, you feel trapped. This is why protecting your energy is not optional, it is essential. Your energy determines whether you rise or collapse, whether you build or destroy, whether you create your life or fall victim to it. And here is the deeper truth. People will always demand from you. Life will always challenge you. Distractions will always tempt you. But only you decide who enters your mind, who touches your heart, who receives your time, and who has access to your energy. This is your power. This is your responsibility. This is your sacred duty. When you protect your energy, you begin to live from a place of strength instead of depletion. You begin to inspire without effort, influence without force, and grow without exhaustion. Your inner world becomes stable, and your presence becomes magnetic. But energy protection alone is not the key. Energy must be preserved, and then directed, preserved, and then transformed, preserved, and then amplified through daily rituals. Because once you guard your energy, you must learn how to use it, and that leads directly into the next truth, the one that builds your entire year, your entire transformation. 6. Daily rituals create yearly transformations. Transformation does not happen in a single moment. It does not arrive through inspiration, motivation, or rare moments of clarity. Transformation is built through the quiet repetition of consistent daily rituals. What you do occasionally shapes your mood. What you do consistently shapes your life. People often imagine transformation as a leap, an awakening, a sudden shift. But true transformation is not loud. It is subtle. It is gradual. It is the accumulati on of hundreds of small choices. Choices so small they seem insignificant in the moment. But repeated daily, they reshape identity. This is why daily rituals matter. Not because of their intensity, but because of their consistency. A ritual is not a habit. A habit is something you do. A ritual is something you do with awareness, intention, and meaning. A ritual is a commitment to your future self. A ritual grounds your mind. A ritual sharpens your discipline. A ritual reinforces your identity. A ritual stabilizes your emotions. A ritual nurtures your energy. Daily rituals are the architecture of a strong life. They may look simple. A morning breath practice, a few minutes of silence, a daily stretch, a handwritten intention, a period of reflection before sleep. But these small rituals accumulate. They build momentum. They anchor you. They shape the rhythm of your day so your day does not control you. Daily rituals protect you from drift. Without rituals, you wake up reactive. You move without direction. You get pulled by circumstances, influenced by stress, and shaped by whatever noise crosses your path. But with rituals, you reclaim power. You begin your day centered, grounded, prepared. A single ritual can change the quality of your entire morning. A series of rituals can change the direction of your entire year. A commitment to rituals can change the destiny of your entire life. And rituals do something even more powerful. They reaffirm who you are becoming. Each time you repeat a ritual, you are casting a vote for the future version of yourself. The stronger you, the disciplined you, the centered you, the purposeful you. Over time, the votes accumulate and identity shifts. You do not become disciplined by thinking about discipline. You become disciplined by practicing rituals that align with discipline. You do not become peaceful by wishing for peace. You become peaceful by creating rituals that generate peace. You do not become focused by hoping for clarity. You become focused by engaging in rituals that sharpen your attention. This is the power of daily rituals. They are not tasks. They are transformation in motion. But choosing rituals requires awareness. Ask yourself, what do I wish to strengthen in myself this year? What quality do I want to embody? What version of myself do I want to meet in 12 months? Then create rituals that support that version. If you want strength, create rituals of discipline. If you want clarity, create rituals of silence. If you want peace, create rituals of grounding. If you want purpose, create rituals of reflection. If you want mastery, create rituals of practice. The ritual shapes the result. The result shapes the identity. The identity shapes the destiny. Daily rituals make you intentional. Intentionality makes you powerful. But the rituals must be honored, not followed perfectly, but honored consistently. Because every ritual you skip weakens the identity you are building. Every ritual you perform strengthens it. This is why rituals must be simple. Simplicity makes consistency possible. A ritual is not about duration. It is about presence. A ritual is not about volume. It is about depth. The smallest ritual done with devotion becomes stronger than the largest ritual done without intention. And once you commit to rituals, your entire life begins to shift quietly, steadily, deeply. You begin to feel the transformation long before others notice it. Your energy changes, your posture changes, your decisions change, your boundaries sharpen, your CLA really heightens, your purpose awakens. And then one day you realize that you have become a different person, not by force, but by gentle consistency. But this realization leads to an even deeper question, a question that shapes everything that comes next. For if daily rituals create yearly transformations, then what must you do with the person you are becoming? What must you embrace next on this path of inner mastery? 7. Your mind needs training, the same way your body does. The body is obvious. When it becomes weak, you feel it. When it loses strength, you notice it. When it lacks flexibility, the limitation is undeniable. So you stretch it, strengthen it, discipline it, condition it. But the mind hides its weakness behind noise, behind distraction, behind routines that numb rather than nourish. And because the mind's decline is silent, many people do not notice they are losing control of themselves until their life reflects it in their choices, their reactions, their patterns, their relationships, their emotions. The truth is simple. A mind left untrained becomes your master. A mind trained becomes your servant. An untrained mind is reactive. It pulls you toe. Art, impulses. It overwhelms you with emotion. It drowns you in overthinking. It distracts you from your goals. A trained mind is calm. It observes without judgment. It decides without fear. It focuses without struggle. It withstands pressure without collapsing. This is why training the mind is not optional. It is essential. Most people believe the mind becomes strong by thinking more. But the mind becomes strong by thinking better, by thinking consciously, intentionally, and with awareness. Mind training begins in the quiet spaces, the pauses between thoughts, the stillness beneath emotions. It begins where the noise fades and clarity awakens. When you train the mind, you cultivate habits that build mental resilience, breath control that regulates emotion, observation that separates you from the chaos, focus that sharpens your attention like a blade, reflection that reveals truth, discipline that anchors your decisions. These practices do not remove challenges.